We'll end this. The last question will, I guess, kind of have to do with the Last Dance. We talked about it a little bit earlier, and I'm going to throw you a curveball here. I know I was going to say share some thoughts on the Last Dance, but we touched on it. If you were to see a part 2 of the Last Dance, so another team, maybe another, it doesn't even have to be basketball. If you were to see another team in a 10-part documentary, who would you want to see and why?
I've watched a lot of little things about the Spurs. I think the Lakers, from an entertainment, those early 2000 Lakers teams would be an absolute blast. But for me, it would be if the Warriors did one. Now, and I think you'd get the entertainment value for the KD years, but to go from Coach Mark Jackson to Stephen Kerr, to Steve Kerr, to them almost wanting to trade Klay Thompson, them gambling on Stephen Curry over Monta Ellis, bringing in Andre Iguodala once they brought them in, taking the Spurs to almost 6 or 7 games and really feeling like, yo, we're a team in this business now. Then bringing in and drafting Draymond, and then to see those practices and those films. Now, Draymond runs his mouth sometimes a little too much, but what Draymond does for that team, money can never replace. And it's a lot of the things that they were talking about in that Last Dance. And, you know, I could see him coming into a practice when Michael was saying how Judd and Steve and some of the guys were fooling around when he came back in 96 when they set the record and was like, yo, you guys weren't here in that first run. This is how we do things. So I'd love to see how, I don't think anyone came in and like rechecked the Warriors, but just how they slowly kept evolving up. And I think once they start adding the pieces like David Lee, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, Leandro Barbosa, Sean Livingston's story would be an absolute perfect side piece in a documentary like that. Going from having no legs and knees to being a world champion. And just seeing then how professionally that grind that they went on mentally to do the 73-9, to start the season off with your backup coach, Luke Walton. I mean, Steve Kerr wasn't even there. And then to have, you'll have the drama and the 3-1 thing, and then the KD could be episodes 8, 9, and 10. I would really want to see how that developed, because out of all the teams in these eras, and I love Kobe, rest in peace, love all those teams and those players and those Celtics teams. Sorry, that was a little crazy. But the journey that those Warriors went on is, I think, what these kids nowadays and the athletes need to see, because they could relate to those kids a lot. They could relate to them. They could go empathize with the same emotions that those players are going through. I don't think they could really empathize with a lot of the 90s and 2000 players, where we want to do this at the same level that you did, MJ, but we want to do it with some fun. And I think there's a fine line there, because Stephen Curry is the new version of Tim Duncan, in that he's having fun, but don't get him wrong. When it's time to practice and stuff, he's not having fun. When the game is on or they're in the locker room, they're not having fun. There's a reason why the Warriors brought back Stephen Curry when Draymond and KD went into their interaction on the bench. Stephen was not on that trip. The Warriors organization flew him to the road trip to make sure everything could be honky-dory from that point on. So, and I think the kids really need to see that, because I think there's too big of a gap right now between the way the new age is approaching the game. You know, LeBron took it at a different level with bringing a little bit more calmness to it, not as rugged with the leadership as Michael. But I think people need to see that there's a middle ground there that I think Steph plays with. I think Steph and Klay and those guys, they bring what Michael had, they bring what LeBron and them have of the appreciating the game from this new angle, and they're still coming for you. They're coming for you. Like, those guys would compete against each other in the three-point shooting contest. I like that stuff. So I think that would be the cool 10-part documentary that you could see where they came from, how they rose up. I think a lot of their players had very interesting stories. And then you have a lot of drama-filled entertainment with the 3-1 thing, Kevin Durant, and all that stuff, and the possible trades that could have happened all throughout this 10-year stretch. So
yeah, they've had that was good. They've had quite the run. You know, obviously it's a different game now, and but they've been able to really adapt and really just kind of make it their own game. We'll leave it at this. You think they got another one left in them?
I do, because if they can stay healthy, they just set themselves up with arguably getting a top 5 pick this year and another one
Yeah.
next year. Now, are they going to bring in 2 young kids? No, but you best believe does a Giannis or someone get traded for to go out there? And the Lakers know they only have about another year or two to do it. And everything that I like where the NBA is at right now, because everything is up for grabs. There is no, and I think every team knows it too. Because I think the Lakers have this year and next year, if they all could come back with this same type of roster. But if the Warriors spin one of those top protected picks, they'll get another one.
Wouldn't doubt it. No,
Now they have that recharged tip. If those guys, if Clay doesn't get injured and things still keep going really like fun, I don't know. But now they have a reason. Oh, y'all don't think we're that good again? Here we come again. So
sure, a little extra motivation.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm hoping to see with my hometown Chicago Blackhawks, to see one more championship. So I don't know. That's probably a longer shot, but you never know.
Zach LaVine just came out and said we have to be better. He's motivated.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the Bulls, that's a whole nother. Yeah. It's a longer journey.
We should have Knicks right now. So.